Welcome. I'm Steven Siciliano. I'm the PM Director for POWA20. So if you've come here today for a session on Microsoft Flow, you are in the right place. You may have heard this morning at the keynote that Microsoft Flow is now POWA20. I can guarantee you I will slip up many times during this presentation and use the wrong name. I may weirdly combine them in weird ways, but just trust me, we are going to use this new name going forward. So I'm really excited about it. It's really a great job, does a great job of showing how POWA20 is part of the Microsoft Power Platform. So if you ever hear me slip up and talk about Microsoft Flow, just know I'm talking about POWA20. And if you've already come to know and love Microsoft Flow, you already can love Microsoft POWA20. So it's just a new name plus a bunch of new capabilities, which I'll be talking about today. So just a quick overview of the agenda. I'm going to spend some time on the background of the product for those of you who aren't as familiar with it yet. I will give a couple demos. One demo will include the POWA20 as you may have known it in the past. And I'll have another demo that will dive into the new functionality, which Charles demoed during Satya's keynote, and you may have seen in some of the other sessions already today. The UI flows, which are the new robotic process automation capabilities inside of POWA20. And then I'll wrap up with some details on extensibility and what we can do next. So diving right into POWA20. What is our goal with POWA20? What's our mission? Our mission is very similar to Microsoft's overall mission, to empower people to drive more business value through automation. I'm sure you've all heard about the idea of digital transformation, and our goal with POWA20 is to enable everybody in an organization to digitally transform any aspect of their work, be it the mundane tasks that they do every day or the business critical tasks that they only do at the end of the quarter. A lot of tasks that people do are prone or are a good opportunity for automation going forward. So that's our goal with POWA20. POWA20 is part of the Microsoft Power Platform, and there are now 4 products here that all share a common naming scheme. You may have noticed that Power Apps now has a space in it, so it went through a major rebrand as well. And we have Power Virtual Agents that are now a new offering coming for the Power Platform. And all of these offerings work together because they're focused on the same persona. The goal of the Power Platform is to create a low-code way for people to be more productive in their environments. Now, in addition to these base applications that we have, Power BI, Power Apps, POWA20, and Power Virtual Agents, there's a number of platform components that they build on top of, such as AI Builder and the Common Data Service. And I'll spend a little bit of time talking about how they can be valuable for you as you build out automation in your organization. So what can POWA20 do? Well, first, POWA20 is automation at enterprise scale. And what we mean by that is whether you're going from a broad set of people in an organization that each have the same process, but it's repeated 100 times, or it's a process with 100 different steps that you need to do, but you only do that process once. POWA20 can meet all of those needs. With digital transformation and automation, you can save massive money whenever you're automating processes that could have taken 18 months before. That can now be reduced to be much more efficient and much faster. So automation has a lot of benefits for organizations. But automation also has some risks, which is why the second part is just as important, is that it's secure. Microsoft POWA20 uses Azure Active Directory as the identity layer, which means it takes advantage of all of the various AAD security features that you've come to know and love in your experience with Microsoft. Additionally, POWA20 is deeply integrated with the productivity offerings that we have inside of Microsoft through Office 365. If you think about Teams or OneDrive or SharePoint, Planner, Forms, all of these offerings are integrated with POWA20. And POWA20 is intelligent. This comes from the new AI Builder capabilities that we announced this year. And there will be a lot more intelligent features coming in the future that will make POWA20 the most intelligent platform that's out there. So let's talk a little bit about who POWA20 is designed for. Our goal is that everybody can use POWA20. If you've been familiar with Microsoft Flow in the past, you may know that POWA20 has been targeting end users, right? It's the people who are familiar with the business problems that they need to solve that are going out and using Microsoft Flow in the past, now Power Automate, to build automation. These end users are the people that have maybe not the development skills that a pro developer would have, but we also target experienced developers to use Power Automate as well. That's because a pro developer wants to be able to get their job done a lot faster. And with a low-code tool like Power Automate, they can be much more efficient at what they're doing. A pro developer could always open up Visual Studio and write a bunch of code in WebF and deploy it into Azure and manage that deployment. But for scenarios that can be accomplished with Power Automate, it's just going to be a lot faster and easier. So we also target experienced developers with Power Automate. Even IT admins are using Power Automate these days because there's a ton of routine, mundane tasks that IT admins have to do as a part of managing the deployments that they have. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in the coming slides. So our goal with Power Automate is to be the only automation platform that your organization needs. We've been able to integrate with both cloud and on-prem systems in the past, but now with UI flows, we can also integrate with legacy systems that don't even have an API. With Power Automate, you can very easily share your flows, just as easily as you can share documents. And it's natively integrated with the entire Microsoft ecosystem, building on the Common Data Service. Plus, it has a rich extensibility model through Microsoft Azure. So when we talk about Power Automate, we talk about this idea of automation for all. What do I mean by automation for all? Well, first, I mean that we can connect to almost all of the data sources that you could imagine as a part of your day-to-day job. We have over 275 connectors, and these span everything from Microsoft services, like all the services in Azure, Office 365, Dynamics, everything from Forms to Planner, but also third-party services. So if you leverage Salesforce or Workday or Zendesk, all of these services also can be leveraged through the connectors that we have. But not only can we connect to services that are in the cloud, we also can leverage the on-premises data gateway to pull data from inside of a local network and push that to the cloud. Now, I often get asked, how do I use Microsoft Flow with SharePoint on-prem? And the answer is with the on-premise data gateway. That is the way that you can have your SharePoint data reside purely on premises, but the workflow logic can continue to run up in the cloud in Power Automate. Additionally, with Power Automate, we have rich integration into the Office 365 products. So if you're inside of a OneDrive folder right now, there's actually a Flow button that shows up whenever you select a file in OneDrive. That may be renamed to Automate soon, but right now it says Flow. And when you select the Flow button, what happens is you can kick off any flow on the files that you have. So if you have an approval process that you want to run directly from inside of OneDrive, you can do that very quickly by just selecting that flow and running it right inside of your folders. Or if you're working inside of teams and you want multiple people to be able to collaborate on building out automation for their team to make it more productive, you can do that as well with a Flow tab that we can put inside of Teams. We even have an add-in inside Excel, so I can select data and have that run a flow based on what I have selected. You may have also heard an announcement that there's new Office scripting capabilities coming to Excel that will mean you'll be able to run macros in Excel from a flow that runs in the cloud. So this is a new exciting capability that will be coming out later this year. But it doesn't stop there. We have integration with a whole bunch of other Microsoft Office 365 offerings. One of my favorite examples is actually Visio. You can use Visio to design and author your flows. If you're familiar with the flowchart way that you would design business processes in the past, you can actually do that with Visio, dragging diamonds whenever you have a condition, having loops be represented by arrows going back into the chart. You can actually design it that way and then export it to a flow that you can use and finish authoring up in the cloud. And there's a whole bunch of others. I don't have time to get through every integration today, but suffice to say, no matter where you are in Office 365, there's almost certainly a way to build automation with Power Automate. The same is true for non-productivity, but operations scenarios. So if you use Salesforce or Dynamics or even SAP, you will be able to use Power Automate to automate the processes that happen there. So if you have SAP, we actually have a private preview right now of a new connector that's coming that will allow you to be able to automate from right inside of Power Automate. And that will be publicly available soon. Now, one of the most common scenarios that people need to be able to automate is approval tasks. So we have first-classed approvals directly into Power Automate, so that way anybody can build an approval process very quickly with just a few clicks. So we've taken concepts like figuring out how many people are required to do an approval, or is it a fixed set of options, or is it a dynamic set of options? All of these things are baked right in, so that way no matter what endpoint somebody is using to approve, be it from inside of Teams, or in their inbox in Outlook, or even the mobile application, an approval can just work and be set up in just minutes. So this is one of the easiest ways for people to have other people in their organization participate in a process that they build out. But we also have a capability that goes beyond the simple approvals with sophisticated business processes that are built inside of Power Automate. And this is the business process flows capability that we offer. If you've ever used Dynamics in the past, you may have recognized this because it's the same business process framework that's actually been used in Dynamics for a number of years. And this allows humans to participate in an automated process by filling in steps. And you can actually go through multiple stages. The built-in approval action we have is just a single action, but with business process flows, you can have a variety of different stages that people can walk through as they complete a process. And not only that, but we also have the ability to generate rich analytics on top of these processes once you've built them in Power Automate, which means that you can figure out where are people spending the most time as they run through a process. So this is incredibly powerful. So what is unique about Power Automate that really makes us excited about our particular offering? Well, the first is that it's built on a secure foundation. I already mentioned that we leverage Azure Active Directory as the baseline for everything that we do. So when you set up conditional access policies, they apply exactly the same to Microsoft Power Automate. The same thing with MAM or Intune. Any of these policies you put in place apply to Power Automate just equally to everything else. We also encrypt everything, both in transit and at rest, which means that Power Automate is compliant with all of the standards that you'd expect. And we even have availability in the US government and government high clouds. So if you do have those needs as well, you can leverage Power Automate for them. Finally, we have data loss prevention policies that you can build. So if you want additional security on top of what AD already offers out of box, you can leverage the DLP policies that we provide as a way to control where data can go. Even if somebody could manually take data from a SharePoint site and post it automatically on Twitter, you may want to block that from automatically happening inside of Power Automate. So you can create a DLP policy that will proactively block that. One of the other things that's unique about Power Automate is that it's built on top of the Common Data Service. The Common Data Service is the platform that Dynamics 365 natively uses to store all of its information. And Power Apps and Power BI and Power Virtual Agents work with it natively. This means it's the best place for new business data that you're putting into your organization that requires intense relationships. The Common Data Service is incredibly powerful, and there's a number of sessions this week that I'd recommend attending if you're interested in learning things like how security roles work, how you can create and manage all of the various entities and roles inside of the Common Data Service. Now, the Common Data Service has a really important concept that Power Automate leverages called environments. So if you haven't heard about environments before, I definitely recommend checking this out, because environments are a way to partition the processes that you build inside of your organization. For example, you could have a test and development environment where you first build your processes. You check them out, you see exactly how they work. But then you'd have a separate production environment where you would actually deploy your running business processes. This is definitely a best practice because you don't want people just going into your production environment and breaking an important business process. This allows you to have different security roles between your different environments as well. Another very common way that environments are used is to be able to have one environment in one geography and another environment in a different geography. Now, with environments, that opens up a bunch of capabilities for admins and IT. One of the things that I find most interesting about how admins use Flow is we actually have a connector, or actually a set of connectors, that you can use to automate the management of Power Automate from inside of Power Automate. So I could create a flow, for example, that says whenever a flow is created that connects to a certain data source, make sure that the author of that flow has gone through a mandatory training. So you can require any types of policies or advanced actions that you want that we can't ship out of box with our DLP policies by building that inside of Power Automate itself. So it's a little bit like circular dependency, but it actually works very well, and we see a lot of major organizations leveraging this capability. And just in general, IT can now leverage Power Automate to automate any of the tasks that they do. So if you think about working with security services or any mundane tasks that IT can do is possible with the variety of different templates and actions that we have. Now, the last thing I'll talk about that's really unique about Power Automate is AI Builder. With AI Builder, you can create artificial intelligence models without knowing anything about how AI works. This means that you can have people without understanding what a Jupyter notebook is or without going through a bunch of training to be able to bring intelligence into the automation that they build. And with that, I'm going to switch over to the demo and give you a taste of what Power Automate looks like. So this is the Power Automate homepage here. And the first thing that you'll see here is that I have approval requests assigned to me. The approval requests are the ways that I get tasks assigned to me inside of Power Automate. But what I want to build for this demo is actually, I want to take tasks that have been attached to emails as scanned PDFs, and I want to be able to process those and send them to a Teams channel for approval. So to do that, I will leverage AI Builder. But first, I'm going to create my flow in a solution. Now, solutions are really useful because they provide you a way, it's kind of like folders, to group together a few different flows, and then you can move them across environments. So I've created an empty solution here for my task processing, and I can then just go and create a new flow. When I do that, the first thing it's going to ask me for is what is the trigger of the flow. The trigger is the thing that kicks it off. It's the event that starts the process. In this case, I'm going to use Office 365 Outlook, but as you can see, there's a whole bunch of triggers that we have. We have hundreds of different triggers, and you can imagine both from Microsoft services as well as from third-party services. When you add something into Power Automate, it first provides you with some basic configuration you can change. So I could change which mailbox, for example, it's listening to, as well as some advanced filters. In this particular case, I'm going to be looking for those task forms that are submitted as PDFs, so I want to look for attachments, and I want to make sure that the word task is in the subject line, so that way I don't just get every email that has an attachment to trigger this flow. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a loop, because there's possibility of having many different attachments attached to this email. So I can add that in here. Now what's going on here is this is the dynamic content inside of the flow. The dynamic content is how you pass data from action to action as you build out your process. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leverage AI Builder to be able to process this attachment and get the information from it. Because what I get is this PDF. So it may look like I could just select the text here, but this is actually a picture. This is scanned from a printer. So I can't just take the information from this and use it inside of my flow, because there's not sufficient information here for me to be able to do that. But luckily, with AI Builder, I can do that. So I can go here, and we can see the types of models that you can build with AI Builder. The one I'm going to use is the forms processing one, but there's a bunch of other ones, like being able to classify text or object detection. Now, the first step to build an AI Builder model is to upload the files into AI Builder. And I've already done that here with these forms that look exactly like this. Once you've uploaded the form, it lets you choose which fields you want to use inside of your AI Builder model. So this is that PDF that we were just looking at, and you can see it's processing this to identify where the data is. Now, you may notice here that there is some fields where the key, the label for the field is off to the left, and it's actually identified that this is a name and this is a department. But you can also see that this text here, the header is actually the task name that appears above it. So with this, it provides a way to parse all the information. And not only that, but it also gives you the confidence that it has in terms of figuring out whether or not it actually identified the right data. So I can just select all of the fields, say, hey, I want all this information, hit done, and then I can train this model based on those PDFs that I uploaded. So all I had to do is I just had to upload 5 PDFs, basically. So I've already done that for a model. I come here, and I'm going to search for predict. Whenever you add an action, you can easily search from across the thousands of different actions that we have. So here, I'm going to predict, and I'm going to pass the Contoso forms model that I have. And I want to pass it in some information from the email step. So what I've done here is I've created a formula that I can use to process some of that information. Formulas are a very powerful capability inside of Power Automate because they allow you to do lightweight transformations of data. For example, you can convert it between a couple different types. So I can click on this and see that this formula is a string. It's converting the data from an attachment into a string, so that way I can use it inside of AI Builder. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to parse the fields from that AI Builder model. So I can go to parse JSON, and I can pass it the data from the prediction step, just like I passed in the attachment data. And I have a JSON schema that I've already pre-created here that has friendly display names for each of those labels. So that way, when I build out the rest of the flow, I can see those display names. Now what I want to do is I want to start the approval process. So I can go to the connectors here and search for approvals. Approvals give me a first-class way, like I mentioned, to be able to create a task that I can assign to somebody else. And I can choose from the different types of approvals that we have. In this case, I'm just going to choose a simple approve and reject because it's a straightforward demo. And then I can see here all of that information from that PDF is showing up here as fields that I can use inside of the flow itself. So I'm going to pass in just say the task name for now. And I'm going to assign this approval to myself, so that way I can do the rest of the demo. In reality, I would actually probably pass in the email from the PDF itself and say, Ignite 2019 demo, and I'll pass in the name of who the task is for, as well as maybe their email address here. Now that I've done that, I want to send a message to Microsoft Teams, so that way anybody who has access to the Teams channel can see that there's a new request. So I can search here for Teams and see all the different actions that we have inside of Microsoft Teams. There's a whole bunch of them. But in this particular case, I want to post an actionable card. So I'll search for card. And then what I have to do is obviously I have to choose which team I want to post to. So I can just search from that amongst all of the different teams that I have access to. Inside Microsoft, we use Teams a lot, so you can imagine that there's lots of different teams and channels that we can pick from. But this channel will be the one that will receive that message. And then, just as before, I can pass in the adaptive card that was output from creating that approval action. So you see how easy it is to build this. I'm just passing data from step to step as I build out my process. So now that I've posted an adaptive message, all I need to do now is wait for this approval to complete. So I'll wait for somebody to finish the approval task. And I want to pass in the approval ID, because you could actually have multiple parallel approvals if you wanted, and wait on them and do different things depending on which one completes first. Finally, what I'll do is I'll add a condition. So I'm just going to add a condition here that says if the outcome is equal to approve. And I'll leave it empty for the moment, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like in a second. So I'll give it a title, Ignite 2019, save it, and that's it. So what I've been able to do in just a few minutes here is to create a business process that will trigger whenever I have a new email, and then it will go and use my connections to the Common Data Service for AI Builder, to Outlook, to be able to process these invoices that are really just scanned forms. So let's take a look at it in action. Now, I could send myself an email, or we actually have built-in testing features that will go to Outlook and find a sample email that matches the criteria that I've put inside the filter. So I can just do that from testing. So I don't even have to necessarily go to my email and do something. And you can see there it's found an email in my inbox that has that attachment. And if I switch over to Teams, if everything is working, I should see right now at 1:55 p.m. Pacific time, I got the Ignite 2019 demo right inside of Microsoft Teams. And then I can choose what I want to do with it. In this case, I'm just going to say approved and good to go. And with that, I've been able to create an approval process that takes these fields from the PDF. These were not hard-coded. These were taken from the PDF that I uploaded. Let's take a look at exactly what that PDF looked like to give you a sense, just to confirm that it's real. So if we open this up, it was Isaiah Hartwell, I think, was the sample name. And if we go to my email, which I don't want to do quite yet, but I can show you here the email that came in, it will be the actual PDF. I'll show that in just a second. Now, the other thing I want to show in this part of the demo is the business process flow. So a business process flow is a way to build more than just that single approval action into the process. So what I have here is I have a business process flow that I've authored that has a number of different steps. And you can walk through each of the steps. You see these, they have multiple fields in them. So this is the authoring experience for the business process flow. And then here I have the business process flow as it shows up for the end users in the process. So I would use this if I wanted a lot more than just an approve or reject. But if I wanted to collect a whole bunch of data with fields and inputs as a part of this approval process. And these business process flows can also have conditions. So based on whether or not it's urgent, it actually changes the set of stages that this business process flow would walk through. So I don't have time to get through this in full detail today, but we have a lot of sessions that will cover all the different aspects of these things. And with that, I'm going to switch back to the slides. So this is what the demo showed. And now I want to dive into robotic process automation. So hopefully, most of you had a chance to check out the keynote and to see what was coming. And this is one of the most exciting new capabilities that we have inside of Power Automate. So what robotic process automation allows you to do is to work with legacy applications that don't have any API. And this is important because with Power Automate, we can connect natively to anything that has an API surface. But there's a lot of things out there that just don't have any way to connect to them natively. So if you think about classic Win32 applications or browser applications built on ASPX that don't have a clear separation between the back end and the front end, there's been no way to automate those applications in the past. But now, with UI flows inside of Power Automate, you can. These work a little differently than the demo I just showed you. So with the automated flows that we have today, you actually go and you add the steps, right? You add the steps and then you pass the data in. But with RPA, because there can be so many actions that you take, we've actually built in a new recorder capability that allows you to go through the task you want to do, and it will automatically generate all of the steps that you do, so that way you don't have to manually drag and drop anything in like I was just doing a minute ago. Now, because UI automation leverages the actual interface of an app, it is inherently more fragile than API-based automation like I was showing you. Because a lot of things can go wrong. A dialog could pop up, or there could be some warning, or maybe the application developer changes the buttons that show up on a screen. If any of these things happen, then the automation that you build against that UI could potentially break. So it's really important that you test and validate the flows that you build with UI flows before you finish. Finally, you can execute the tasks. You can actually run the processes from automated flows however you want. With RPA, there's two different types of RPA that I want to mention. There's attended RPA, which runs when there's a user present. So I'm at my machine, I click go, and it can go and use my user context to go log into an application. But there's also unattended RPA that runs in the background whenever something happens. And the advantage of running in the background is you can run it in a highly scalable manner. You could spin up 100 VMs, and you could run a UI flow across all 100 of those VMs. So pros and cons for both, but they definitely target different scenarios. And the unattended is actually still in private preview, but that will be available in public preview soon. And actually, the demo I do will include unattended. So how does it actually work inside of Flow? So first, you build or you can build a flow that has a UI flow action in it. That action is what's going to actually trigger the script to run on your machine or on a VM inside of Azure. The UI flow is built with a built-in recorder that we have that I'll show you in just a minute. And it looks a little bit like this. So there's a series of actions that run that have different, inside you can actually see the screenshots of what exactly that UI flow is doing. One other thing to keep in mind is there's actually two different types of UI flows that we have today. The first works with desktop applications. So this is Windows applications that run on Windows 10. And it's based on the Windows UI automation framework that we have. So we haven't built a new framework for the purposes of building UI flows. We're using existing APIs and existing capabilities inside of Windows to be able to automate these applications. Likewise, we can also program against web applications. So if you have these old websites you want to program against, you can do that as well. And that works in the latest versions of Microsoft Edge that use Chromium, so the new Edge, as well as Google Chrome. And this is based on Selenium. Again, we haven't built a new framework. We're leveraging existing capabilities. And Selenium is actually an open source project that we're building on top of. In terms of the roadmap, like I already mentioned, we already have UI automation which is unattended that's coming. We also are going to add support for additional applications and additional application types. So today we have those Windows automation as well as the web automation, but we'll add additional applications like SAP, for example. And we're also going to be adding more recorder and playback capabilities. You'll see in the demo that there's still some rough edges because it is, the first day of a public preview. But we'll smooth out all those rough edges, and we'll have really advanced capabilities by the time that we GA. Our targeted GA is the first half of next year. So before the end of June next year, everything that you see here today with UI flows will be generally available. One other note I want to make before I dive into the demo is process discovery. With process discovery, you can actually discover the processes that need to be automated inside of your organization. Because you can imagine there's so many different processes, you don't know necessarily which ones are the ones that will be the most important to automate. So we actually have a partnership with a partner called Fortress IQ that has an agent that can monitor what happens across an organization and identify which processes are the most important to automate. And just like with Visio, where you can export a Visio diagram to generate a flow, you'll actually be able to export from Fortress IQ to generate a process that can then be automated. So this is a great way for people to discover what's going on. Now, I'm going to dive into the UI flows, but just to give you a little bit of background, what will happen is we will have a legacy application. In this case, say the finance department is using this Win32 application, and I want to be able to take the data from the process that we were just looking at and put that into that legacy application. So with that, I will switch back here. So I'm going to edit this flow that we were looking at moments ago. And I'm going to add a new action if the outcome is approved to call a UI flow. Now, UI flow shows up just like any other built-in connector that we have. And you can see I can choose between running web, this uses Selenium, or using desktop. And when I do, it gives me the option to pick from any of the existing UI flows that I have, or to create a new UI flow. So why don't we do that right now? Ignite 2019 demo. And this looks just like creating a flow. And the first thing I need to do is I need to define the data that's going to be passed into the UI flow. So in this case, I'm taking those PDFs, which have the task details and the task names. So I want to be able to pass that information into the UI flow that runs on that legacy application. So for the demo purposes, I'm just going to pass it name, and I'll also pass, say, the email. Just a couple different inputs. Ideally, I would give it nice, rich descriptions here, but for demo purposes, we can keep it simple. Then what I can do is I can come here and see all the details about recording steps, so I can just launch the recorder. You can see here the recorder has popped up on my screen. And what I can do is I can switch to, this is that legacy app that I was talking about. This doesn't have an API. There's no way for me to interoperate with it nicely. But when I hit record, it can be able to identify the application and all of the elements in this application. So first, you notice the red box that appears around the application. That tells me which application is currently being recorded, in this case, the Contoso invoicing app. And then that light blue box is showing me what control I am currently on. So when I click, you may have noticed there that the light blue box turned dark. That indicated that it registered that click, which will show up in the script in a moment. Now, in addition to clicking, it can also pass data from the flow. So you can see here those two inputs that I defined are now available. So I can go here and I can choose which control that shows up on. And I passed in that sample data that I defined just a minute ago inside the flow portal. So that's the name, and the other thing I want to pass in is the email. So I can select that, and you can see there even it caught my typo when I didn't spell email correctly. It's a very difficult word to spell. Now, the other thing that you can do with UI flows is to be able to pull information from these legacy applications. So I can do that by saying getting an output and then selecting which element I want to get that output from. And you see, as soon as I click that, it pulled the information directly from the UI. So I can give this and say this is the ID, and I'll just do that as well. If I can type and hit save. So with that, let's say I'm done with my recording, and it's going to show me back here each of those steps that I went through. Now, inside each of these steps, it is going to have a screenshot of exactly what I did, but there's also some advanced options. So one of the things that UI flows do is, by default, they'll record the time that you spent in each of these steps. And I spent 21 seconds blabbering on about something, so I'm going to reduce that to 2 seconds, so that way when I rerun this, it doesn't take quite so long. But you can see here, it showed me which box I clicked on when I passed in the name. And this uses that same flow designer that we've had for years, the same tokens, the same property syntax, and the same language that I can work through as I go and I build out my process. So I can edit any one of these actions, and I can adjust the configuration. You may notice down here there's even this advanced JSON that I could work with if I wanted. In the future, our goal is to have a much nicer UX for you to be able to configure after the fact exactly what happened. And for each of these actions, you can see, again, it's pulling all this information. And with that, I can hit save and save this UI flow. Now, the next step is to define the outputs. You see, I defined one output, so it automatically picked that up. And then we come to the testing step. So this is the important thing. You've got to make sure this works before you finish. So I'm going to put some other test, 1, 2, 3, and just something. Doesn't really matter. And now I can test my UI flow. So what it's going to do now is this will take a second to boot up, but it's going to open an instance of this application, this legacy Win32 application. It's going to switch to it, and then it's going to start actually working through the UI. You see, it launched the application, it clicked that new button, I have those fields, and now it's putting test 1, 2, 3 and that gibberish directly into that app. And my hands are here, I'm not doing anything, right? It's happening automatically because the UI flow is automating that application. And the other thing that's important here, yeah, you can clap, I guess. The other thing that's important here is notice that it actually pulled the ID from the application. So it says that 1007 is the ID, and it actually pulled that up into the flow. So I'm going to go ahead and exit this. And with that, I can actually, again, test this same flow. But what I want to do with this one when I test it is I want to do something a little different this time. Instead of having it run on my machine, I want this to run in the cloud on a VM inside of Azure. So I've actually already set up a VM that's running. And this is useful because this means that I will not have to have it pop up in my face as I'm doing it. So for attended automation, having something pop up is very useful because you may need to be logged in with your context. In this particular case, instead what I want is after I approve this, I don't want anything to pop up. I want it to be able to just run in the background without anything else happening. So I'm going to switch back here. So I was able to get to that next step. So this takes a little bit of time. So I'm going to switch back to the slides real quick to just talk about one use case of this, and then we can see whether or not the flow actually worked. So we have a use case today where we are already in production with Microsoft Power Automate using these UI flow capabilities that I was just demoing. And this is the volume licensing processing that we have inside of Microsoft. So you can imagine this unit processes a huge volume of revenue for Microsoft. Basically, almost all of our revenue comes from volume licensing. So today, there are over 3,800 people who have to manually process these invoices, and they go to this legacy website, which doesn't have any APIs. There's no way to automate it directly to be able to fill in all of the details of that invoice processing. Now, with Power Automate's UI flows, you can actually do it all automatically, and I'll give you just some screenshots of what that will look like in the interest of time. So it starts actually from a business process flow. Remember that human-driven process that I was talking about a few minutes ago? Then what it allows you to do is it allows you to have a canvas-based app that you can actually click a button on, and that goes and that triggers the UI automation. Now, with the UI automation, I've built, or I haven't built, but the team has built a UI flow that goes and uses the web-based automation, because the volume licensing is actually this old legacy portal that doesn't have any APIs or any easy way to program against them. And then what it does is it fills out all of those fields and completes the order automatically in just a few minutes. Now, this process has saved us, or will save us over the next 2 to 3 years, a huge amount of money, because there's a lot of just manual tasks that happen, and that adds to the time that it takes for the processes to actually run. Additionally, it increases the efficiency of the overall process and makes the overall quality of the process a lot higher as well. So that's just one example of how you can use Power Automate to automate the processes that you have inside of organizations. So I'm going to switch back here to this screen. So we can take a look at exactly what happens when a UI flow runs on the desktop. I cheated a little bit. It didn't actually succeed, but this is an example of one that did succeed but an hour ago. So it does usually work. But we can see here that it ran on the VM without me doing anything. And you can see here the element, it got the text from this without me running on my machine. So we can log into the VM just to see exactly what happened on this remote machine. So let me just give it a password. It'll take a minute to load up. And you can see here, it didn't run successfully for some reason, but it was able to at least launch the application. And what we can do inside UI flows is you can actually go and you can see the exact details of every run that has happened. So let's just take a look, because I'm morbidly curious about what exactly happened with the UI flow. So I can go to my flows, go to the UI flow that I created 4 minutes ago, and we can see the run history that failed. And we can see here the details. So it was able to successfully click on the first button, but then it wasn't able to pass in the information. And it looks like it wasn't able to work because I didn't pass in any of the details into the step. So that was actually my bad. If we look at the flow, I should have actually filled in the task name and task description for that flow to work. So that was a demo error on my part. But you can imagine it definitely does work. It has worked in the past. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up on extensibility. So with Microsoft Azure, you can extend all of these capabilities that we've seen inside of Power Automate. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this. So you can call REST APIs, for example, directly from inside of Power Automate. You can use custom connectors, and there's a bunch of different ways that you can build custom connectors as well. One way is by using Azure Api Management. It's the best way to surface APIs that your organization leverages. You can also leverage logic apps that you build and call them directly from inside of Power Automate, or even Azure Functions. Azure Functions are really the easiest way that you can build a set of logic that you then reuse as you go across all of the aspects of the Power Platform to be able to have logic in C# or Python or whatever it is that your programming language is. So there's a bunch of different ways from Power Automate that you can connect to Azure and leverage all of those capabilities. So with that, I'd like to thank you for being here. My one call to action is please join the Power Automate community. We have a ton of people there already trying out UI flows, getting started with the product, and maybe you can be a little more successful than I was today. But it's really great, and I hope that you can give it a try. It's available in public preview today. You can check out all of our YouTube channels and videos. And with that, I'd like to ask you to evaluate the session, and I'll be around for questions for a few minutes now. Thanks very much.